Want some candy?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary movies.
Want some candy?
I got this great drinking too. Yeah.
Give me some brew and I might just chill, but I'm the type that likes to light another joint like Cypress Hill.
What's up, you little hood rats, skank ass bitches? This is Monster Candy Podcast, and we're gonna fuck your asshole.
Wow.
I think this is Teathered.
Yeah.
This is Teathered. It's up here. We're here with Screamin' E's Teathered.
Yo, this is Screaming E from the Memphis Murder Man. To my right, I got the ballsy badass herself, Shotzi Blackheart, who is pterodactyl in this motherfucker. And then to my left, I have Dominic Davey from Tsunami Bomb, who has 5 on that pterodactyl shit.
We got 5 on it. What's up, everybody?
Let me hear your pterodactyl screaming.
You know what really sold that, E, is the face you made while you did it. I think that was my favorite part.
And then the sweet 80s outro.
There you go. Oh, man. It has been way too long since we've done an episode, and now we are all in the same room. It's not a sausage party episode.
Nope,
No
there's
sausages.
one badge here.
Shotzi's
Well,
brought the taco.
One taco here.
One vag.
I like meatballs in my taco.
One vag and 6 balls
So-
though, so figure that out.
One batch of 6 balls. That should be a sticker that we sell or a t-shirt.
Yeah,
Monster
two
Candy Podcast.
sausages, one
One ba-
taco, and 6 meatballs.
That's so weird. And yet so true. It's so true. Welcome back, everybody. It's been way too long, as we said. It's good to be doing an episode once more. The band's back together.
We got shit to do. What do you
Boys
want?
are back in town.
Boys are back in town.
The boys are back.
The boys are back.
We actually all got together and went to a movie together. And we got to see Jordon Peele's new movie, Us. Us. But before we talk about the movie that all of you have seen, since it's had one of the biggest horror movie openings of all time, it's time for horror news.
Horror news.
Welcome to Horror News. That's right. It's the part of the show where we talk about a bunch of things that we found on the internet and share them with you in the hopes that you haven't seen them yet. But by the time you hear the episode, you probably have. But then you get to hear what we think of it, and that's what makes it special. Shotzi, you got anything?
I guess we can start with something that me and Screamini watched recently. That is new on the wonderful world of Shudder.
We do love Shudder here.
Yes, we love
Shudder
Shudder.
rules.
We're Shudder
Yeah,
fans.
it's big time. And I'm
It's
really
great.
excited if this is what I think it is. Which I think it is because you told me before we started the show.
Yeah, we're talking about Critters,
Yeah.
the
and
new little mini series. Yeah.
So I was very excited about this because I like those
Me
movies.
too, I love
especially the first
Critters.
2.
Everybody was excited about this, I believe.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, I
remember the
love
bounty
Critters.
hunter? Like
Yeah.
in the second
Yeah.
movie, and she pulls the staple out of her stomach. The shapeshifter morphs from the Playboy,
Yeah.
and then it's the Playboy model that's in that Playboy. I thought that was meta.
Yeah.
Pulls the
Sick.
staple from her stomach.
They,
Sick.
1 and 2 were good, and I think I might have seen 3, maybe, and
Probably
then
took
none
a
after
turn
that.
Yeah,
Or at least none fully after that.
it stopped being. It got shitty. But so you guys watched the episode.
Yes.
I haven't had time.
We
I've
watched
been traveling.
the whole
I've been in
series.
studio.
Yeah,
You watched the whole
kinda.
thing.
Yeah.
You said it was only like 10 minutes
Yeah,
long.
they're only little 10-minute episodes.
How many are there?
They're like little web
There's 8.
episodes. Yeah.
There's 8.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah,
it's
it's like
80
it was
minutes.
made for YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, that's not as cool, but all right. So tell me about it. Was it rad?
It is cheesy as fuck.
Really?
If
Yeah.
by rad you mean not
If you
really
mean-
great at all,
If by rad you mean not rad at all, then
I have a question for you guys, and maybe you can help answer it. Because I know that, like me, we differ on a lot of things with horror. But like me, you guys take horror pretty seriously.
Yes.
You like good fucking stories. Whether we all agree on which stories are the best or not, we all like good stories. Why is there this major thread running through horror of people who just like stupid shit? And no offense to you if you like stupid shit, more on you. I just want to understand.
Stupid shit too, but there's like a line between like stupid shit and then just like really stupid.
I mean, I feel like it's always kind of been that way. Like, especially in the punk rock scene, you get all these people like, dude, like I love really bad B horror movies.
Yeah,
or,
like
see,
Thanksgiving or like
I get some movies are bad.
Thanksgiving is only good if you're all wasted and you're not going to pay attention to it. And you just look up and be like, fuck you, bitch. And you see a turkey that says it. Yes, it happened to me.
Yeah, you gotta be high.
But you gotta just be
You're
kind of
gonna
fucked
watch
up while it's happening and not paying attention to it. But
Well,
I mean, it's really not worth making.
like
It
the-
was not worth making.
The B movies of like the 50s and 60s, like they weren't necessarily trying to be bad.
No, they were just
No,
bad. It
they
was
were
accident- Yeah.
There's
You
just
know.
no money. And
Yeah.
they weren't...
That's just what it was. So you
The
can
effects,
appreciate
yeah.
what it was for what it was at
Mm-hmm.
the time, and then you get in the 80s, and then it started, even through like the 70s and 80s and 90s, where the people are like, yeah, and then what trauma really helped this whole thing about
Oh my god, it's Trumba's fault.
not necessarily because I love redneck zombies,
Oh, yes.
and that's
Redneck
bad.
Zombies is great.
but it's funny.
I mean, bad, but I think there's a limit where suddenly we're in a realm of just fucking schlock and cheese
Right.
and
Yeah.
just
Well,
like,
if you're gonna do it bad, like do it redneck zombie bad, where it's just like bad, like everything about it. Don't like put a lot of money or put money into it to make it shitty,
I don't.
right.
So but,
I enjoyed the first like 2 minutes of Critters. Yeah. Cause like it got you all into it. Like the critters looked good.
yeah, they use
like,
puppets.
Yeah, they used puppets. I was all game for it. I was like, oh yay, cool. They're
It
not
looks
CGI
great. Like the
critters.
trailers that I
Yeah.
saw, I was like, I'm in. I just haven't had time to see it. Like,
It's fucking stupid.
It's really dumb.
It's like ridiculous. Like there's some shit you can appreciate,
Yeah.
but it's definitely like the latter.
The critters are definitely the best part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the only.
It's like the latter movies, not what I mean, like the
yeah.
later sequels,
I'm crazy. It's crazy. They're
which is
only
just
10
stupid,
minutes.
fucking cheesy. Like there's interspecies sex between a critter and
There is?
yeah, you didn't watch the last episode.
I fell asleep.
Yeah, like 2 episodes, and she's like,
Yeah, I was out.
I was like, I'm just fucking gonna power through this. So yeah, there's
Wow.
spoiler alert. There's some. It's not in it, but there is a baby born, a person born out of the critter and human bestiality sex.
Oh man, that sounds awesome actually.
No, you're like
He's like, no.
you're like, really? I mean, but that's like the.
You're kind of selling the rest of it to me.
It's the backstory of what's taking place right now.
Oh.
So it's like, what?
Critter bestiality.
Weird. I don't know. I'm gonna watch it because
I mean, what
it exists.
if you have an hour, you could watch the whole thing. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's
yeah.
they're super
So-
short. But
I'll watch it while I'm
It's
working.
not, it's
I was bummed out because I was like, if you're gonna put any sort of money into it, and it's got some like funny people like Gilbert
it just
Gottfried's
could have
in
been
there.
cool. It could have been way cool.
Yeah,
I feel like the AMC, it's AMC that runs Shudder.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're discovering that they have a really cool thing on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been like a thing where they're just reluctantly but consistently putting money into it. Like,
Yeah.
the more people who are tuning in, the more they're like, okay, we'll add some more movies. Okay, we're gonna do original content. Okay, they broke the server for Joe Bob, so we're gonna fucking keep it going.
I'm glad it's there.
So it just sounds
Yeah.
like it was put in the hands of people who are like, we're just gonna go goofy as shit with this.
Well,
It was
another
definitely
thing that
goofy
I was
shit.
gonna bring up was I just watched Puppet Master,
The
the new
Littlest
one.
Reich.
Yes, the one that came out last year. In
I haven't
August.
watched it, but I saw a thing in Fangoria about it. And it looks crazy.
I love it.
Yeah.
And that's how I wanted the Critter series to be. You know? Just.
Which is funny because Jim Dangle from, Lieutenant Dangle from Reno 911.
Mm-hmm.
It's not his real name, but I don't refer to fucking people as by their characters. He's in both of them. He's in the Puppet Master, and then he is in the Critters thing. So I was like, all right, it's got Jimmy Dangle, boot goofing, up in Critters, fucking Gilbert Gottfried. All right, let's see what's going
It's really
on
funny
here.
to me. Sometimes I wonder if actors like that, I literally can see them both looking in the mirror going, what happened to my career? And I can also see them look in the mirror and go, my fucking career rules. I was in Critters. I've been in fucking, like, it just depending on the person, they could
Just
be
being
like,
why the fuck
this
not?
is the coolest shit ever.
Yeah.
Or this is like, dear God, what happened to my life? I thought I was going to be somebody. I studied Shakespeare.
I mean,
But yeah, if you haven't seen Critters or the new Puppet Master, just watch the new Puppet Master. You don't need to watch Critters.
Well, apparently it's only an hour, so maybe check it out a little bit, I guess.
I
You can
was
watch one episode.
I was just disappointed because I'm like, if you're gonna put the money into it,
Right.
you could have done like a 4 or 5 episode miniseries
Yeah, I know.
and made it like kind of good.
Right.
But they were just like, let's just go fucking full retard with this and just make it so silly and
Never go full retard.
yeah, And I'm like,
yeah. Okay.
So yeah,
That's a little disappointing. Well,
but it's good it's there because it's the
Speaking
content.
of remakes happening.
Yeah.
Since this is the era of crazy amount of horror remakes, since
Yeah.
certain ones have made a lot of money. This is one that I think Shotzi's going to be excited about because Blumhouse has announced they're remaking The Craft. Yes.
No.
You hadn't heard that?
No.
Or are you just pretending for the podcast?
No, I really haven't heard
Okay,
that.
well, I'm really
With the
glad to be
original
one to tell
cast
you.
too.
No, it is
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. There was somebody who pitched the Craft 2. That would be the original cast 20 years later, blah, 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 with new girls figuring out all this stuff.
They were like, fuck that,
But
we want
they didn't
young,
do
hot
that.
bitches.
So it's going to be a whole
Is that
new...
what they said?
Yeah. They're going to be a whole new batch. I don't know how connected it's going to be to the original Craft, which it still could be. I guess this... man, I can't read my notes, but like... I have
It
really
says
messy
lots of
writing.
penises.
Zoe, Lisa's Joe. There's a woman writing it. She, I guess, wrote and directed and starred in
ladies
Lola
writing it?
versus. Yeah. So.
Yeah, ladies.
So for all you witch fans,
I love
The
witches.
Craft is coming back with a whole
Oh,
new
and they're out
version.
there because everyone's a goddamn witch nowadays, or fucking I love Satan. So they're like, I'm gonna
That really bums you out.
Satan some shit. It's just fucking dumb.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that our side of darkness is winning, and it bums you out.
It's just,
Some of us just like Sabrina. Okay.
everybody's a fucking witch.
I
Not
think,
everybody's a
no,
witch.
they were always. It's just the internet. You see it more now.
No,
It's the internet.
It's
No.
the internet. That's
goddamn
what does it.
interwebs.
That's what does it. That's what... well, I'll say this, man. I would take a girl dressing like a witch over any other things, many other things on any given day. You
All
know,
these
you could
super lame
you could
witchy clothing websites, though,
Yeah,
are,
that's what
I'm
are
saying,
super
man.
are super annoying.
It's like let's put a fucking goat head and some pentagrams on it, and we'll sell a billion of them because fucking witches are just like basic ass bitches that go to buy fucking.
Look at my cool demon cat shirt.
That
Yeah.
reminded me of
666.
the Portlandia sketch of Put a Bird on It. Like,
Yeah.
it was put a pentagram on it. Put a pentagram on it.
Put a pentagram on it.
Put a pentagram. Does it have a pentagram on it? It does now. Yay!
Exactly.
Put a goat head on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like to live to
I'm
this
totally
sleep?
talking shit about myself because my entrance jacket is a Killstar jacket.
It's
but
fine. You know what? You can be
but
aware.
you know what? Whatever. Whatever. It's a cute jacket. Fuck.
You might be a witch if The Craft was one of your favorite movies.
I love The Craft.
If you watch the American Horror Story and Coven is one of your favorite seasons.
Oh no, that's my favorite
You
season.
might be a basic witch.
I'm a basic witch.
If you have more than one item with a pentagram on it,
Oh no!
you might be a basic witch.
I'm a basic witch.
If you've ever listened to Stevie Nicks, you might be a basic witch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Stevie
She's too
Nicks
cool
fan,
for that
actually.
shit.
Yeah. That's where I draw the line.
If
sorry.
you have black clothing,
Ah, shit.
there we go. Back on it. Wow, I didn't really mean to steamroll you into truth there.
I'm aware.
You're basic.
I'm a
witch.
basic witch.
I'm a basic witch. All right.
Let's get into this fucking movie. Or do you have more?
Yeah, no, that's all I got. We'll save it for another episode. So, okay,
Any
that's
whoosy
it. That's the end of
whoosy.
horror news. Caw-caw.
Hey there, hi there, ho there.
So, today we're talking about Jordan Peele's follow-up to his smash hit, Get Out. This movie's called Us.
U.S.
And, straight up, spoiler alert, it had a humongous weekend opening. Like, that dude
For sure.
is writing his own ticket. And let me just say before we get into this, I'm really stoked that a guy who was almost A-list already as a comedian decided to dedicate himself to horror. And that's awesome.
Yeah, that's it.
And he's doing well. Like, so, however you feel.
It's horror's hot right now, man.
It is.
I keep saying it, but like, horror is
I mean, you got your basic witches.
Is the
you got
hotness.
horror. Yeah, it is. It is very, because it's all just hitting
it's
it.
Stealing it. It's stealing it.
Everyone's just too many movies that are just hitting it out of the park.
It's just great. I love it.
So, like,
I'm all
I don't know.
about
If you were a filmmaker and you were, like, running out trying to get your horror movie made, this is probably a good time to try and do it. Or it's already too late because everybody's doing them now. But if you're a horror fan right now, this is an awesome time.
Since, like, Shape of Water, it's just been, like...
I think it was
like... Wasn't Shape of Water before it?
I think
Shape of Water
Shape of Water was
came
before.
out before that.
Was it?
Because we did an It episode, and Shape of Water was our first episode.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot that it was our second episode because we did
Okay,
80s
yes.
horror.
All right. Gotcha.
That's interesting.
True that.
Okay, so this movie, personally, I really overall had a lot of fun with the movie. I think the first two acts are excellent, and I think the third act, when he tries to explain it, starts creating a lot of holes and problems. Yeah. So I really wish that this might have gotten another version or two before he had went ahead and did it, because it takes the wind out of the twist a little bit for me. But, which you saw coming, by the way, from the beginning. But overall, I had fun with the movie. I know you guys don't feel the same necessarily.
Do you want to go first, Ms. Blackheart?
I don't know. I'm still confused on what I think about the movie because I thought that it was well done, and I do like I really liked the acting, and I love
the actors.
I thought the comedy was cute, even though the comedy was placed in weird parts of the movie. I thought it was fine, and
it worked, but it was definitely weird.
It was kind of weird. Like,
see, I would have said I thought the comedy worked out pretty well because it was all in nervous moments that they had a second. Like, it was in those moments where it's like, oh my god, just get in the car. Like, I killed more people. Like, you know, it's like all of a sudden you're arguing about something ridiculous, which I've had happen in a stressful situation.
Yeah.
So to me, it felt like that actually worked pretty well. But that's my
some of those.
I liked it.
It worked, but I felt like parts like that would have been way better put into a movie like Tremors. like where you see it's an obvious like.
Well, it does. It is in Tremors, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean. But like, there's an obvious like this weird thing that's going on that it's a foreign being like an alien. They're like, oh shit, like, and they have time and space like away from it to be like to make a fucking sweet one-liner or like whatever. But this is like, hey, there's these people that are literally us that are trying to kill us, but instead we're gonna like joke around while we're trying to get away and like drag ass to get away.
See, because like,
which way
I would do that.
It's
I would
funny.
do that. I've been in fights with people where like I crack a dad joke in between there, and then we laugh, and then we start fighting again.
Dad jokes, joking while you're arguing or something like that is different than when you, literally, the other you, is trying to.
I don't know. I've never been in that situation.
But I see what you're saying, but I liked it. I'm
not saying it didn't work.
I was just saying I thought it was a good way to let the air out a little bit before they ramped up tension again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, my biggest issue with this is that I feel like
holes.
As soon as he tried to explain it out in the third act, you suddenly get all these problems with it because it felt like nobody can tell Jordan no right now because he's so hot and he can do whatever he wants, and he had this firm idea of what he wanted to do, and he knew it was silly, but he was just going for it anyway and pulling it off. Overall, he did okay. I read an article on Bloody Disgusting that was just basically sucking his dick about how perfectly he pulled off something no one else could have pulled off because it would have been awkward, and I was like, I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't say it was perfect.
It just the explanations caused a lot of issues, and as we said walking out, I would have preferred to have been another dimension, like a hell dimension they were coming through, and then the impact of switching people would be cooler. But I understand that there was this, like, with, as you said when we walked out, when you go see a Jordan Peele horror movie, there's going to be a social aspect to it, and this is definitely a commentary about the poor.
Yes.
And that's clear, and like how they're pushed off to the side and buried underneath.
Well, that, but not really that. He himself has said it's a thing that we are our own worst enemies.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like, you know what I mean, where it's like you're self-destructive, and there's a line between where you could be you keep your shit together, or
and
be
in
a complete
that,
asshole,
I think it was really good. It's just I just only had a couple little struggles with the explanation and who gave the explanation, because how would she know it? But at the same time, it was. But at the same time, it was super fun. I mean, I don't want to get too.
I mean, it was fun.
Like, I liked the fight scenes. I liked the actors. I liked the acting. I liked I liked how the kids came along, like, you know, and what they did. I didn't like the inconsistency on how much they're mirrored and how much they're not.
Yeah. See, I have so many problems with the plot. There's just so many holes. But then also, it's like, because there's so much social and political commentary that he puts in his movies, where it's like, oh, well, that's just trivial. You just have to kind of, like, shush all that away. Yeah. But still, it bugs me.
Yeah. It does. It bugs me, too. I think that I would have... You know what? Just while you were saying that, I think that if the tethers weren't miming actual moves and they weren't mirror images, like having to act out what the other half of them are doing above. Yeah. I think in the basement stuff, if the movie just said, you have to accept in this universe that every person has a clone that is somewhat connected to them, but not puppeting their moves, then it would have even been more believable that there were like just these weird clones underneath there that God knows what's going on with.
Because why now that they're not mirroring what the other people. Right. Why now are they able to go up there when they couldn't for so long?
The whole point of it was they're soulless.
Well, no, they were sharing. No,
they're sharing.
But I mean, you know, they're mimicking us, right? The people above, so they don't have control over their soul. They're the shadow, so they do what we do.
Right, and I get that, but I almost wonder if it made it more problematic when you're like going in and out of like what.
It's like Brad Pitt and the fucking Mexican. Like, sometimes he has an accent and sometimes he doesn't. Like, the fuck.
So
man.
were they just
that is oddly accurate?
So were they? Right? So were they just training for this 20 plus years to be able to not have to.
I guess she was able to break them out of their patterns with her dance.
Okay.
Here's my issue with Jordan Peele. All right, there's a right way to do the whole social political commentary in a movie, and a wrong way. And I feel like he does it the wrong. Like you were saying, Dominic, he's very heavy-handed with it. So it, like, to me, it's like he comes up with this social political commentary and then tries to wrap a horror movie around it, which doesn't always fit. Like, I think he's talented. He's super funny as a comedian, and I think he's talented even as a, director and a writer. I think he would do a lot better if he just made a simple horror movie instead of trying to make this like super social commentary on it.
I feel what you're saying, but I guess I would say
that's his thing.
Yeah,
that's right.
I actually think he's doing a great job with that. Like I have no problem with his the allegories that he's trying to make in these these themes that he's working within these movies. I have no problem with those at all. Like Get Out, was one of my favorite horror movies in recent years. I thought it was excellent and really creative and kind of like just from left field. It was nobody was thinking along these lines, and he thought of something that was really great. And this one, I definitely, if I'm going to bounce back to a criticism, I would say this definitely seems like a sophomore movie where the last movie had years to percolate in his head and really come up with a tight narrative, even if it's an outlandish concept. But he had a tight narrative, where this is another outlandish concept that's not as tight of a narrative.
Well, yeah, like I said,
But now it's like he's got, I don't know, but I still want him pumping out movies, and I like that it's obviously working. He's going to keep doing it.
Well, people are on his nuts now, so no matter if it's shit or not, like it's perfect. This is a perfect movie. It's like, well, is it really? Or are you just being...
I wouldn't go so far to say perfect. I'm just excited that he exists. I'm excited too that he exists. I'm in it. Like you said, he's funny, he's sharp, he's making horror movies now. But yeah, I don't, he can do whatever he wants, and I'm gonna check it out. Like he's already proven that, and if he keeps pumping movies out like this, he's gonna be listed as a class. He's gonna be another John Carpenter, like recognized in history, like a great horror film director that's really.
Everyone's saying he's the new M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong.
There's only one. No, I'm just kidding. No, that to me, already by his second film, he was starting to have trouble conveying. People started getting he got caught up in his twists. You know? It's just gonna be, can Jordan Peele keep pushing out great narratives? This one I wish had one more draft. Well,
like I'm saying though, man, like even regardless, to get a Night of the Living Dead had no political overtones when it was made. That all came after. George Romero said it, like nothing about that. Nothing.
Yeah, no, they put a lot of that into it,
but his movies after that, like Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, they would all have like a little bit of that political social commentary.
Right, like
thing.
Dawn of the Dead was about like consumerism.
Well, it wasn't about that though.
It wasn't?
No, it was about people.
Well, okay, yes, it wasn't about
fucking
that,
killing
but
zombies and trying to stay alive.
have...
But the mall represented the whole consumerism.
Yes.
Thing. So you could have like a little like in there and kind of give it some flavoring with that.
Yeah, but don't drown us
in
it.
The movie was still about people surviving a zombie apocalypse.
Right.
And I don't like politics in my fucking music or my fucking movies because you can see that shit literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
You go to a Jordan Peele movie, you know that's what you're getting into, so...
I don't mind. And again, respectfully disagreeing. I'm fine with the political commentary and all of these
you're
things.
into that.
Which you can have that, but if I'm going to see a horror movie about some weird shit, I want it to be about the weird shit and not... Like, you can have aspects of that in there, but it's like right in the beginning of this movie, he's like...
Well, I think, honestly, also, I think that there's the fact, in a weird way, though you and I are disagreeing on this point, we're saying pretty much the same thing, because you're basically saying, like, don't don't make the story suffer for your political narrative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's complicated.
Yeah,
It's
don't-
like 10
don't-
pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Yeah,
and he's
exactly.
Like,
Don't
all right,
force it.
I gotta
Don't
try and
force
make this
it.
all fit together.
Make
and you're
it
like,
subtle. Make
yeah,
it
but
just-
you're...
Well, just make sure the story can carry it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Make sure you have a tight,
Yeah.
strong narrative, which I think if somebody was to ask me of the two movies which is better, I would say Get Out, because Get Out did have the political commentary, but it had an incredibly tight narrative, start to finish, great story. Everything was everything had an answer, and if it didn't have an answer, it still made sense because it allowed you to draw the conclusions. It was a tight narrative, start to finish. Whereas this one, a little looser.
It was totally loose butthole.
But I will say that the actors did a great job in playing the two different characters.
As much as I'm shitting on this movie, I will say my favorite parts of the whole fucking movies were these two actors. Was the dad.
Mm-hmm.
He was funny.
Yeah.
And fucking Tim Heidecker from Tim and Eric. But the problem with that is he's always going to be fucking creepy ass Tim Heidecker.
Right.
In, like when he was evil, evil guy.
He was still
fucking like you could have put that character in an episode of Tim and Eric, and it would have been like, this is a Tim and Eric episode.
I'm over boats.
Yeah.
No, but no.
But
I think the lead.
They were funny.
I think the lead. She killed it. She just killed it. I liked her. When she would send her kids after people, and she just did this and they ran off. It was awesome.
I was not into her.
No.
I
was into it. I was on board.
I thought the stupid voice that she made.
That was.
But again,
that was directed.
Yeah, that was definitely something that.
But
was
it was bad. It just wasn't.
You don't think it was well done?
No.
How else could you have done that?
Do something else, not that, because that sucked.
Oh.
No, I just.
And
I liked it.
And much like Brad Pitt in The Mexican, it went in and out. Sometimes it'd be like super obnoxious, and then sometimes she just says word or three completely normal.
Sometimes my mom speaks perfect English, and sometimes she is super Filipino. So
yeah, I didn't have a problem with
English.
her.
Isn't your mom's first language.
But this girl.
Spoiler alert: this was this bitch's first language, English.
Well, she also hasn't spoken it.
Again, another plot hole where I don't believe, no matter how young you are, you're just not gonna talk.
No, I don't know.
If
you can be traumatized.
If you don't talk for 20 years,
which is my point.
You know what though? Even if I was in a room full of people who couldn't talk, I would still talk to them. I'd still
talk to yourself and be like, what
or
the fuck?
I'd teach them shit. I'd be like, yo.
Yeah, if she had enough time to fucking teach them to revolt against their other halves, she could teach them.
See, that's what I'm wondering. Did she teach them how to not be moving with them up there? And then how come when she's down there?
Yes, that's the implications that she did. She
Okay.
broke their tethers.
And then that's why the younger kid, the youngest one, isn't that great at it because he's still kind of learning, and that's why homeboy could control him.
But
I mean, yeah, I guess.
But
I mean that kind of makes sense, right?
But
I don't know.
But
the youngest son.
Listen, but when fake her is living upstairs,
I need more chicken wings.
Real her is down below, being all fucking weird and motor movement, and it's like, but you're the real one that has the control. Mm-hmm. So why are you acting all
I think that was the point, is that technically the control could shift.
Or is it just because
why?
Why?
Because you're upstairs, you're in the sun, and the other one's in the down. I don't know. There's the holes. This is where some of the holes come through.
But it'd be like, well, then couldn't the people down below make the people upstairs be all fucking weird and shit too? But no.
I mean, the whole thing was the untethering. They wanted to break free. They wanted to be completely free of that.
Which is good. But again, it's like, man, you can't have both ways.
I honestly thought when it started, they were just from a mirror dimension, like Star Trek Spock with a goatee, just a hellish dimension where, when she was first describing, her life versus her life.
I thought it was a shadow thing, like Peter Pan.
Yeah.
I was like,
Whereas you had a beautiful daughter, I had a monster, and I like when they had to perform a C-section on you, I had to do it to myself. You know, it's just like, and I hate you. You know, and the difference is in the shadow realm, we know you exist, and we are coming for you, and then now this is it.
Like how,
you know, it's
Peter
like I was
like,
on board with that. Lupita Nyong'o, I think she's awesome. I know you didn't like the voice, but I thought she held it down. I love Winston Duke. I was on board. Like all these.
The little kid was cool too.
The kids were cool.
He had a sweet shirt on and mask.
That girl, the facial expression she did as the version of herself, I don't know for sure what her name was. The daughter, her creepy version, her tethered version, her face is like was so.
And
good.
I was talking to a friend about this who was like, who mentioned something about shout out to Shayna, what up? But she was like, posted
Jihadi
something.
Wright Joseph, that's her name, Jihadi Wright Joseph.
About, you know, is she the only one that doesn't think is disappointed in Jordan Peele's movies when she goes sees them? And I was like, no. She brought up something like, okay, well, how were they fucking, you know, making all these clothes and getting all the same fucking jumpsuits and all the scissors and shit from down there? Like, where'd all that stuff come from?
Yeah.
Well, clearly they had rabbits. They were breeding. I don't know. It is a lot. There are a lot of holes there.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of problems.
But it's just one of those things where that is.
Well, you can suspend disbelief and be like, whatever.
And I would have loved it if.
It would have just made more sense if it was like you were saying, like a different dimension, where it's like this is where
Adelaide,
your shadows are.
Yeah, I just would have loved it if there was just shadow dimension, and when they were kids, a hole opened and they swapped places, and that led to this rebellion, all the shadows coming through.
Yeah.
And I would have liked a couple more clues. Like honestly, you know, like for that reveal at the end, I would have liked to have seen her. What's her name? Adelaide. What's her name? She goes by Adelaide Wilson. I would have thought that Adelaide would have killed the most. Like she would have been the most violent. I saw
the least. Maybe.
No, I would have thought that she would have just been the most violent, the most brutal, and then we had seen her breathing. She was doing the breathing thing, and like, I get it. There were some hints, and apparently her white clothes becoming more and more red with blood were supposed to hint at where who she was.
Right.
I get all that, and it's cool. I just think they should have, a little bit more set up for that. But I mean, I saw some. Did you guys catch the Lost Boys reference in the movie? Other than just it being on the Santa Cruz boardwalk?
What?
Maybe.
Her mother, when she's a kid and they're walking around in 1986, she says they're filming a movie they're filming a big movie over by the carousel.
Oh,
They're supposedly filming Lost Boys at the time they're walking around.
What, were they filming Lost Boys in 86?
I think so. I think that lines up. They also, there's a couple other things in here that are kind of cool. I guess Peele gave 10 films to the cast so they could speak a similar language of horror and understand where he was coming from with this movie. And the 10 movies are Dead Again, The Shining, It Follows, Tale of Two Sisters, Babadook, The Birds, Funny Games, Martyrs, Let the Right One In, and Sixth Sense.
Ooh, Let the Right One In.
Which I love all those. And I didn't catch this, but when the twins are killed in the movie, the twin girls, their bodies are laid in the same positions as the twins in Shining. I didn't catch that at all.
Oh.
So props to the people online that saw that and caught it. But apparently they get laid out when they're initially killed. The two non-tethered twins.
Right.
When they're laying upstairs, they're laying in the same positions as the twins in Shining.
Interesting.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. So he's clearly a fan.
He's on it. Like I said, he's just too heavy-handed for me because that's not. I want to be entertained. I don't want to.
Sure.
Well, I've seen those complaints. I've seen those complaints online.
I don't want to watch the news.
But I just don't think that it's fair to complain about that.
Yeah.
Because you should just know that that's a.
That's what you're gonna get.
That's his style.
And that's, at least in my case, that's what I'm looking for him.
Right.
Like, I'm all right. Show me.
Right.
Make a commentary here. I'm interested.
I mean that's fine. He has a lot of potential to make, in my eyes, to make a really good just horror movie without all that shit. Make it simple, and because I think muddies up the water
Well, you ain't getting to that.
for the
Well, maybe someday you will with how
for the plot, you know, or for the actual movie. So,
I think what he's doing is working. It's grabbing people, and people are
Just go
coming
watch
to
the
it.
new Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
Or the new It.
What do you okay, so let's wrap it up. What do you guys say? How many cute, evil, zombie candy corns you gonna give this movie?
That's how many?
yeah.
I'm giving it a 4. I really liked it. Overall, I was really entertained. I have problems that keeps it from getting a 5. I could even give it a 3.5. Would be accurate. So 3.5 to 4 would be the range that I'm in. I think overall, though, the beginnings of the movie really carry the problems in the last third.
I mean, it's hard to rate it because.
Well, you still don't know how you feel about
Well,
it.
it's not my style of movie. Like, I'm with Screaming. I don't like that shit, you know? So, but I knew what I was getting into going to watch it. Probably a 2.5. I still thought it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the social commentary is just a little too much for me, and I just can't overlook it.
I am gonna throw it down with a 2 because of what Shotzi has just stated. But like I said, for me, like most of the acting was good. You know, I thought it was funny, and you know, like there was some good shit in there. There's a lot of potential, and I just felt like it. Like, yeah, I know, you know, going into it, what it's going to be about, like, you know, his style or whatever. But man, there's just a better way to do it than that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I said, it makes the actual plot of the movie suffer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, man, if you just like lightened up on some of that shit, it would be easier to, you know, because you're trying to mix a lot of shit, like creepy, spectral, fucking horror, you know, a lot of shit, and then try to tie it into like social political stuff that's going on in real life that's has nothing to do with the afterlife or the fucking underworld, you know what I mean? Like, so it fucking
Yeah, I mean, if the plot was a little cleaner, then I would give it to him, you know? But there was just too many holes that, like, bugged me just because I'm a stickler of, like, well, wait, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Well,
I can't just, like...
You do have to, I will say, with my score, and I stand by my score, I liked it a lot more than you guys did.
Yeah.
But you do have to dismiss...
Yes.
A lot. You have to keep a suspension of disbelief in this.
Yes.
A lot of suspension of disbelief.
Because the message to him is the most important part. So I think that he just wants you to not even, you know, worry about that stuff because the message is what's most important.
And if that's the case, then dude, just make documentaries or something, or like, you know,
or just like you know, do a couple Black Mirror episodes.
Again,
you
his
know?
opening, the opening speaks for itself, man. He nailed a movie that is so wildly popular right now. It's the type of horror people want, and
it is though. It is.
I mean,
it's not our style. It's not our style at all though, because we just like 80s fucking gore.
I mean, this is literally scaring people away from Santa Cruz right now. Like the boardwalk is.
I saw people saying that shit on Twitter. That's bullshit. They don't fucking care. They're just saying.
I don't know.
Stuff.
I'm kind of scared of Santa Cruz.
That's nonsense.
I disagree. I mean, I think there's a type of people in the world that are in the country that are going to be like, oh hell no, I'm not.
And then there's other people that are like, let's go.
No, me right now. Right. I'm like, let's go right now. It's empty.
Fuck
but
you.
Hey, you're always going to have.
Now I don't want to go to Santa Cruz at night, and I ain't gonna go into any fucking fun houses at Santa Cruz either.
But yeah, like
Fuck
I just and like I said, I mean, you can. There's a right way to do it. Where like, dude, I love Spike Lee movies, like all those fucking Spike Lee movies in the '80s, and they were like political as fuck.
No, you're saying it's not out of question. You're not saying like you're just saying. I know what you're trying to say. It's like, you know, you got story first and everything else after.
Yes.
Yeah, I get you. I get what
So-
you're saying. I mean, like I said, I was way more on board with it than you guys, and I will stand and defend it. I'm into it. But I think none of us are not acknowledging that he is incredibly talented.
Yeah.
And this is another...
It was entertaining for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just... Fuck, man.
You just want to see a better, tighter story.
Yeah.
Definitely
Fair.
a tighter story.
And I can't disagree with
Fair.
that.
Yeah.
I cannot disagree
Fair.
with that. Well, that's it, guys. That's our take on us. Let us know what you think of it in the commentary. You can hit us up. You can contact us. I don't know, like, E probably doesn't give a shit about what you say, and Shotzi probably doesn't have time to read what you say. I might check it out. That's a joke. We'll look at it. We'll look at your comments. Tell us what you think about it. Also, just throwing it out there, we haven't really said it before, but we have a group on Facebook where you can talk to everybody who listens to this show and us, and we talk to you more often, and you have a chance of seeing our posts more clearly, and we can get into deeper discussions about all sorts of crazy shit. We post there a lot.
It's not as constricted as the main page.
Yeah, they're choking
on
out
Facebook,
the main trade traffic for sure.
Because literally the shit I just posted these last 2 days, more people were liking that in the group and like responding to that in the group as opposed to the actual, and they're all the same people that like the page versus that are in the group.
They're just not seeing it.
Yeah, so
yeah, check us out. If you're on Facebook, find Monster Candy Podcast, like the page, and join the group. You can find us on Instagram, Monster Candy Podcast, and you can find us on Twitter, which it's Monster CDY. Just look up Monster Candy Podcast. I forget how we say it on there. It's really difficult. But you can also find us on monstercandypodcast.com. Thank you so much, everybody. We will see you next time. And remember...
Suck my scissors.
Scissor fight.
Scissors, get it? Because scissors are... That's a good one, right?
Yeah, that's good. You've been listening to Monster Candy Podcast. Want to find out more about the show? Find us on the web at monstercandypodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching Monster Candy Podcast. And you can find our Twitter at MonsterCNDYPC. Hey, we couldn't fit the whole name. What do you want from us? Let us know what you think of the show and if we're right or if we're wrong or what you want us to tackle next. We want to hear from you. Well, Shotzi and I do, but I can promise that E doesn't really care. To find out more about Shotzi Blackheart and her professional wrestling, follow her Twitter at Shotzi Black or her Instagram at Shotzi Blackheart. You can follow Screamin' E's band, the Memphis Murder Men, on Facebook at TMMM official page or his Instagram at Screamin' E. That's screaming with no G, add the E. For me, Dominic Davy, you can find my artwork at dominicdavy.com, my band Tsunami Bomb at tsunamibomb.net, and you can hear my other podcast, 3 Gigs, at 3gigspodcast.com, or on the same platform you're hearing this podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Monster Candy Podcast.
Suck my peanuts.